Have you ever wondered what it truly means to grow spiritually? Imagine this. Somewhere out there, in a parallel reality, exists another version of you, watching silently as you navigate your life. This alternate self might be trying to guide you, sending subtle signs, nudges, or feelings that push you toward your higher purpose. While it may sound like science fiction, even quantum physics hints that we're just one thread in a vast web of possibilities. In this episode of Spiritual Growth, we dive deep into the idea that spiritual awakening might not come from the outside world, but from within, through a connection with your higher self across dimensions. Each choice you make, each fleeting thought that enters your mind, has the potential to align you with one of these countless realities. Within each reality, there lives a version of you, some navigating extraordinary journeys, others confronting unknown trials. Yet despite the differences, all these versions are bound by a shared essence, a profound and unseen connection with who you are in this moment. Now imagine what could happen if you were able to consciously tune into these alternate selves. What insights might they offer? What lessons could they pass on? This concept is more than an abstract curiosity. It opens the door to deeper self-awareness and spiritual expansion. As you begin to sense and explore this invisible connection, a new way of understanding your life, your choices, and your highest potential begins to emerge. Engaging with these alternate selves can serve as a transformative tool for personal growth. It's as if you're tapping into the accumulated wisdom of a version of you who has already overcome the struggles you now face. Perhaps you might draw guidance from a self who lives in perfect alignment with the universe, embodying the most radiant expression of your potential. Every one of these versions carries something valuable, a perspective, a lesson, even a direction. As you start to energetically align with them, you don't just change your own reality. You awaken to a universe overflowing with possibilities. Today, you are invited to recognize the subtle signals that your parallel self may be sending and to learn how to respond. Together, we embark on a transformative journey, one where understanding parallel realities becomes a gateway to a more conscious, purposeful, and abundant life. From a spiritual standpoint, parallel realities are more than a theory. They propose that the universe is made up of infinite, coexisting dimensions. In each dimension, different versions of us are living lives shaped by the limitless outcomes of our thoughts, choices, and energy. These realities are believed to be woven into existence through universal consciousness, each thought and intention creating a new branch in the ever-expanding tree of existence. In one branch, we might be living the dream life we yearn for. In another, we might be navigating different sets of challenges, all influenced by the energetic frequencies we emit at different stages of life. Science, too, offers a compelling framework. Quantum physics introduces the concept of a universe functioning within an infinite field of possibility. Through quantum superposition, particles, and by extension, reality itself, can exist in multiple states at once. This means that, at the most fundamental level, all potential realities already exist side by side. And it is through our consciousness, through the power of our decisions and intentions, that we collapse these probabilities into the singular experience we know as reality. Thus, the idea that multiple versions of ourselves live across different realities is not just an esoteric musing. It is a concept that finds resonance in both spiritual and scientific domains. Each version is a mirror reflecting a unique facet of our infinite potential, living within realities that, though separated by the thinnest of frequency barriers, remain profoundly interconnected by the consciousness that weaves them together. Each version of ourselves exists not in isolation, but in a shared web of experience. These alternate selves, inhabiting distinct yet simultaneous timelines, are not cut off from us. Quite the opposite. They may be continuously reaching out, whispering across dimensions through signs and signals meant to illuminate our choices and direction. But how can we begin to recognize these signs? How do we discern whether a version of ourselves from another reality is attempting to communicate? One of the most common indicators is the sensation known as déjà vu. That strange familiarity you sometimes feel, as if you've already lived a moment before, may be far more than a psychological anomaly. It could signal a brief thinning of the veil between realities, an instance where the boundary fades just enough for you to perceive an experience already lived by a parallel version of yourself. Beyond déjà vu, there are synchronicities, those meaningful coincidences that occur with uncanny precision. These moments, too perfectly aligned to be dismissed as random, can act as signposts. When certain numbers, images, or themes appear repeatedly in your life, they may be messages crafted from the experiences of your other selves. It's as though a version of you from another timeline is gently nudging you forward, using the symbols of your waking world as a language to speak through. Consider, for example, that you're contemplating a major career shift. Suddenly, you begin seeing the same logo, hearing the same phrase, or encountering a recurring symbol in multiple places, from social media to advertisements to conversations. These repetitions may not be mere chance. They could be your parallel self, who has already walked that path, sending confirmation, an invitation to trust the unfolding guidance and take the next step. Dreams offer yet another dimension of this interreality communication. Far more than a byproduct of sleep, dreams are portals into our subconscious and, at times, windows into alternate lives. Vivid dreams that linger with striking realism may not be figments of fantasy, but echoes of actual experiences lived by another version of you. When you dream of places you've never seen, people you do not recognize, or lives that feel unfamiliar yet hauntingly real, you may be glimpsing memories not your own, but belonging to another you in a different reality. Lucid dreams intensify this connection. When you become aware within the dream state and can shape your experience, you gain the rare opportunity to consciously engage with parallel timelines. Through lucid dreaming, you may initiate dialogue with these other versions, ask questions, or observe their world, gleaning insight that applies directly to your waking life. Paying attention to the emotions, settings, and characters in these dreams can reveal layers of meaning. They may serve as guidance for decisions you're facing, or draw your attention to aspects of your life in need of change. Imagine, for instance, dreaming repeatedly of a life you deeply desire, one you haven't yet attained. This recurring dream may be more than hope or longing. It may be a glimpse into an existing reality where that version of life has already come to pass. With reflection and meditation upon waking, you can begin to interpret these dreams, distilling their lessons and weaving their energy into your conscious path. Another powerful indicator of cross-reality contact occurs in moments when you feel out of place, as if your surroundings or timeline don't quite fit. This sense of disconnection, often described as feeling out of time or as though something is subtly off, may be your awareness temporarily aligning with another version of yourself. These fleeting misalignments are not errors or illusions, but signs of your multidimensional existence, a reminder that your consciousness is more expansive than a single reality can contain. At times, it may feel as though you momentarily do not fully recognize your surroundings, or you carry the strange impression that you're meant to be somewhere else entirely. These disconcerting sensations, while initially confusing, may actually point to something deeper. A moment where realities overlap and your consciousness shifts, adjusting to the subtle frequency changes between dimensions. Imagine being in a familiar space, only to suddenly feel as though something is off, as if you've slipped between timelines. Such moments could be gentle nudges from a parallel version of yourself, urging you to pause and reflect on your current path, your location in life, and the possibilities that might have unfolded had you chosen differently. Another powerful indicator of cross-reality connection is intuition. That internal compass, the voice that speaks without logic, but with undeniable certainty, may be far more than instinct. What if, instead of being random, these intuitive flashes are messages, transmissions from a version of you who has already lived through the decision you're now facing? These inner urgings often emerge as a compelling need to act, even when the reason is not yet clear. It's as if your alternate self, from a reality where that choice has already been made, is encouraging you toward alignment. Beyond fleeting feelings, more sustained changes in behavior can also signal influence from your other selves. You might suddenly find yourself adopting new habits, developing unexpected interests, or shifting your daily routine, without knowing where the impulse came from. These unexplainable shifts could represent a deepening resonance with a version of you who already embodies those behaviors. Their energy may be projecting into your current life, subtly guiding you toward growth and transformation. When you begin to notice these signs of communication between parallel versions of yourself, the natural next step is to learn how to strengthen this connection through vibrational alignment. This process allows the messages to become clearer, the guidance more accessible. Vibrational attunement isn't a mystical talent reserved for a few. It's a practice, one that can be cultivated daily with intention and care. At the core of all existence is energy, vibrating at different frequencies. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every action you take emits a unique vibrational signature. When we speak of parallel realities, we are referring to different vibrational states that coexist, layered within the universe. Each version of you occupies a specific frequency. For instance, the version of yourself who lives in abundance and peace exists in a higher vibrational state, one naturally aligned with those qualities. The encouraging truth is that vibrational frequency is fluid. It can rise or fall based on the quality of your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Practices such as gratitude, forgiveness, and compassion are simple yet profound tools to elevate your frequency. When you consciously foster these states of being, you begin to resonate more closely with the realities where your most fulfilled self already thrives. A daily gratitude practice, for example, can attune your energy to a version of life where abundance flows freely, a state where you naturally attract what you need and live with a sense of completeness. Yet, raising your vibration is not a one-time event. It is a continuous process. Consistency is crucial. Establishing and maintaining routines that support high-frequency living becomes essential to sustaining this alignment. Such practices might include meditation, physical movement, mindful eating, and the deliberate choice of positive words and empowering thoughts throughout your day. Through these intentional actions, you not only raise your frequency, you begin to tune into the rhythm of your highest self. As your energy shifts, so too does your reality. The distance between who you are and who you are becoming narrows, and the wisdom of your parallel selves becomes more than just a whisper across dimensions. It becomes a guide, a teacher, and a partner in your ongoing evolution. Meditation, for instance, does more than calm the mind. It also helps cleanse the negative frequencies that may be obstructing your connection with higher versions of yourself. Likewise, maintaining a diet rich in natural, nourishing foods enhances both physical and mental well-being, fostering a clearer and more receptive energetic field. Yet, the effectiveness of these practices depends not just on the actions themselves, but on the intention behind them. Simply going through the motions won't suffice. You must approach each habit with conscious intent, to align your energy with the version of yourself you wish to embody. Each practice becomes a stepping stone, a bridge linking your current reality with your fullest potential. In this transformative process, meditation emerges as a particularly powerful tool. It grants access to altered states of consciousness where the boundaries between realities grow thinner. If your desire is to manifest greater peace and harmony, you can use meditation to visualize yourself in a calm, serene environment, allowing the emotion of peace to fully envelop you, as though you are already living that reality. With consistent practice, this visualization will begin to shift your vibrational state, drawing your present self closer to that tranquil version of you and gradually integrating it into your daily life. However, none of these practices will yield lasting transformation without cultivating a deep sense of awareness. Conscious perception of your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors is essential to ensure they resonate with the frequency you're aspiring to. Self-awareness is what enables you to catch negative patterns that might be anchoring you to an unwanted reality. That's why self-observation must become a part of your daily routine. Take a few moments each day to tune into your emotional state and examine your thought patterns. Ask yourself whether these inner experiences are in alignment with the version of yourself you are trying to manifest. And if they aren't, consciously choose to shift them, replacing negativity with empowering, positive thoughts. From this consistent attunement of your energy, something remarkable begins to happen. You start to notice signs and messages that feel both deeply familiar and yet curiously mysterious. These communications, often subtle, come from the interconnected field where your alternate selves exist. But interpreting them requires more than passive observation. It calls for a blend of intuition, self-awareness, and dedicated practice. Often, when you first begin to encounter these signs, whether through a recurring dream, a lingering sense of déjà vu, a synchronicity too precise to ignore, or an intuitive flash, they may spark confusion or doubt. The mind tends to dismiss the unexplainable. Yet, the key to unlocking their meaning lies in practicing conscious observation and learning to trust your intuitive guidance. This journey of interpretation begins by recognizing and validating these moments rather than brushing them aside as coincidence or imagination. Instead, take the time to write down these experiences. Journal your dreams, synchronicities, and sudden impulses, and revisit them often to identify patterns that may emerge over time. For example, if you continue to dream about a particular place or person, it might be more than just imagination. It could signal that a version of you in another reality is trying to draw your attention to something relevant in your current life. You can also use meditation as a gateway to explore these signs more deeply. In a meditative state, focus on the sign or message you've received and allow your intuition to unfold its meaning without forcing logic onto it. Often, the full clarity may not come instantly, but your intuitive mind will begin to piece together the deeper message encoded in the experience. Intuition then becomes not only a guide, but a translator, a bridge between the conscious self and the subtle impressions from your parallel realities. As you learn to listen more closely, these messages will grow clearer, and you will begin to navigate your life with greater purpose, clarity, and connection to the infinite versions of who you are. Trusting your inner voice and the deep feeling that often accompanies these experiences is essential when interpreting messages from your parallel selves. If something resonates with you profoundly, or if it simply feels right without explanation, that sense of inner alignment is often a sign that you're on the correct path, receiving and understanding the message as it was meant to be. Once you begin to interpret these signs, the next step is integration, welcoming the lessons into your daily life. This process doesn't need to be rushed. In fact, it often unfolds gradually as your awareness expands and you start to recognize which shifts need to take place. Embracing the messages from your parallel version requires openness to new ways of thinking, feeling, and acting. And If a version of you in another reality is offering guidance toward a specific path, consider how you can translate that wisdom into actionable steps within your current life. For example, a strong intuitive pull to change careers, even if it seems daunting, might be the nudge your soul needs to align with its higher purpose. Or perhaps you feel a recurring urge to explore a new hobby or skill. That impulse may be more than curiosity. It could be a message from a version of you who has already mastered that craft and found profound joy and fulfillment through it. By embracing this guidance, you not only expand your capabilities, but also deepen your connection with that more fulfilled version of yourself. The real power of integration lies in its ability to shape a more authentic, aligned life. Every minor adjustment you make, each decision informed by these insights, brings you closer to the ideal version of yourself, the one that already exists in another dimension. This ongoing alignment with your parallel versions is more than a metaphysical concept. It is a journey of personal and spiritual evolution. Each revelation, each behavioral shift, each conscious choice drawn from this inner guidance becomes a step forward on your path to higher selfhood. As you align more deeply with your alternate realities, your personal growth accelerates. You begin to expand your consciousness, shedding old limitations, and discovering that what you once thought impossible may, in fact, be within reach. Reality begins to look different, as though the version you're living is no longer fixed, but fluid, and chosen moment by moment through your vibration and your intent. With each choice aligned to your truest self, new doors begin to open. More facets of your essence reveal themselves. You come to understand that connecting with your parallel versions isn't just about guidance. It's about remembering the wholeness of who you are. It's about embracing universal unity, where all your dimensions coexist in harmony. Through integration, you don't just change your life, you elevate it. You evolve into someone more expansive, more aware, and more attuned to the limitless possibilities waiting for you. And so, every message you receive, every sign you decipher, and every step you take with intention becomes a catalyst, sparking a life that reflects your highest truth across all timelines. Thank you for joining me on this transformative journey. If this message resonated with you, I invite you to like the video and subscribe to our channel. Share it with someone who may also be seeking guidance from within. And don't forget to leave a comment below to share your thoughts, reflections, or personal experiences. Thank you again for watching, and until next time, take care and see you soon.